Let me begin by asking you, dear viewer, a question. Which city would you say changed your life? What would your answer be? Now, if I were to answer that question, I would say the city that most changed my life was Wuhan. I've never been there, but back in March 2020, that place changed every fucker's life. And here in the UK, things like lockdowns and face masks and supermarkets full of half-wits filling their shopping trolleys with nothing but fucking pasta and bog roll, that's now a memory. But of course, COVID is still with us. So yesterday, the British government became the first in the world to approve an annual COVID booster. It'll work in the same way that the flu jab does. It'll be given to those most vulnerable. Now, I read this story in an article on social media and then had a look at the comments. And there were two distinct groups of people commenting on the article. The first sounded like this. Well, that makes sense. Annual vaccinations are certainly nothing new. We've been doing it for decades. And although I'm not an expert, the doctors and the scientists who are the experts in the field are saying that's the way to go. So I'll trust them and I'll trust the science. And then there was the other group, who sounded more like this. It's the New World Order. It's population control. It's a government conspiracy. And I know because I do my own research. And anyone who doesn't agree with me is a sheep. Yes, they're back. The one group in society who make the average flat earther look like a Nobel Prize winning scientist, the anti-vaxxers, have rejoined the conversation. And how I've missed them. I've missed their cherry-picked evidence, which is never peer-reviewed or backed up by any empirical data. And I've missed their hilarious attempts to get their point across, despite having no concept of spelling or grammar. And when challenged, the first thing they'll do is say, actually, I'm dyslexic. You're picking on my disability. The thing is, though, most of the fuckers aren't, because I'm dyslexic. I can spot it. These are just the thick shits that didn't pay attention at school. Ever since the pandemic began, there's been a clear correlation between the very vocal anti-vaxxers, that particular brand of tinfoilers, because that's all they are, they're conspiracy theorists, and people whose final maths exam at high school probably had multiple choice questions along the lines of how many apples are there, and you only need the fingers on one hand. But these are people who are trying to construct an argument to say we are right and all the scientists are wrong, whereas they can't even construct a basic bloody sentence. So what I've got are a few of the comments from the anti-vaxxers that came underneath that news story, and I'm going to read them out as they were written. Not as they should be read, but as they've been written down. And bear in mind, these are people who are trying to be taken seriously. So let's begin. I was forced, not was forced, all one word. I was forced to have first hab. Luckily, the government didn't utturn, so I hunt been forced have unsecond one. Thank goodness I are work in healthcare section. Is that meant to be the healthcare sector? Only caught COVID when I had the first jab, definitely not having another. Another, not all one word, another. I hope to God that woman doesn't really work in healthcare. Someone replied to that comment saying, because tens of thousands your colleagues through their THERE, unforms at Down Street would rather loose, not lose, loose your jobs than take hyperbolic needle. Doesn't hyperbolic mean to greatly exaggerate? Like these cretins do with their IQs. Another comment on the article goes like this. I've had 3 COVID boostos. So I think that means COVID boosters, but it's COVID boostos. And in July, pneumonitis jag. I had a jag, I never tried to inject it. Wow, I've been brutally ill and in a career role. I guess that's brutally ill in a career role. So, I've got that. I've not got a fucking clue what that means. A nice short one here. No, I don't think so. So being spelled S-E-W, like if you were using a sewing machine. If they cut one word off that sentence, it would have made sense. No, I don't think. Only for the Brian dead, guessing that's brain dead, only for the Brian dead sheeple. Yes, sheeple! Sheeple's made a comeback, and the sheep emojis. Thank God we can finally start to interact once more with the graduates from the University of YouTube. The last one reads thus. Only the glibble and follish. Glibble and follish, I think that's gullible and foolish. Only the glibble and follish will take it. The 1% has become the 98%. So where's the missing 1%, you thick twat? To be honest, I'm glad the anti-vaxxers are back. Because, okay, some days we all have a bad time of it. There are some days where I wonder, what am I doing with my life? Why am I walking around a nature reserve shouting at my mobile phone? But then I'll read a comment from an anti-vaxxer and think things could be worse. I could always be him. As ever, thanks for watching.